Привет, my hello from Russia. I have to say, this is my second time visiting Russia and I adore it. It's always a bit of a trip and an interesting place to be. This time I talk to you from Russia about its digital transformation. And every time I pretty much go to a country, I kind of geek out about what the hell happens there, how does the government run, what is the food, yeah, fashion, mostly it. Between tech, food, and fashion, I find myself one happy person. So when you look at Russia and its digital development, it's actually quite incredible to watch. Its massive usage of mobile pay, it's actually the largest Apple Pay user country in the planet, if you didn't know. And this is all around a strategy that Putin has put forward of spending about $1.8 billion by 2025 to put Russia at the top leading edge of digital transformation, moving its economy from oil and gas to technology, which when you think about, it's not a hard thing to do. If you think about the largest impediments between government enablement and talent. Russia has about 100 million internet users and is well known for its strong background in science and cybersecurity. So if you ask me, if they put their ambition to it, what could stop them? A government that's quite wise at projecting power and enabling transformation with a pretty decent broadband infrastructure and an untapped retail e-commerce market when you really look at the numbers. Russia is looking to me like an interesting player to watch for a digital transformation perspective. A similar role of the government that I would call in China at its early stages of enabling the digital identity infrastructure uphold. Let's talk about what's behind that. The government is playing a key role in bringing together all the stakeholders that create a rich and innovation-led environment. When you look at it, for instance, in financial services, a central bank has rolled out a unified biometric system. It's actually the only central bank that I've studied so far that has done so. And users can go at a member bank and actually enroll. Users' voice and face images are collected and they go through what's called a UBS, which is a unified biometric system for those of you who are wondering, not the bank. The system is shared amongst other service providers through Rosta Telecom cloud infrastructure. So when you're going out there telling people that biometrics are not on the cloud, look again, because they are. And they actually are in massive numbers in Russia already. And its cloud infrastructure is actually connected to what's called the Interagency Electronic Interaction System. What a mouthful. It's the government's document platform utilized. UBS uses two-factor authentication processes. So it actually uses voice and facial biometrics to increase the accuracy of the user recognition. I couldn't get into the details because I haven't been able to see the liveness effect of both of templates or how the templates are actually stored other than the cloud and by using cryptography. I don't know much more about that. Registered users can carry out bank transactions through the digital services and actually including smartphones. And as I said to you in the beginning, Russia is one of the fastest and most utilized payment methods that use phones. You won't see Russians carrying around as many cards as you see the rest of us. Often people ask me what do I think about identity as a infrastructure problem, and I think hopefully a lot of these blog posts exemplify why I think it's a multi-stakeholder approach and why it's so darn difficult and we seem to make very little progress and still talk about passwords. So let's talk about how UBS works. It's actually a two-factor authentication that uses voice and facial recognition. And how that program came about, which proves my point of identity being a multi-stakeholder problem with infrastructural issues in place. This project came to life as a collaboration of different stakeholders. The stakeholders that can be named are the Bank of Russia, the Minister of Communications and Mass Media, the state telecommunication provider, a few partner banks, and that's what brought everything together. So when you look at how the system is built, the voice recognition system was built by one of the largest leading internet mobile-only banks, which is the bank in Russia called Tinkoff. Tinkoff Bank is leading the way in innovation and actually is what makes part of this infrastructure. So similarly to how we saw in China, some tech giants lending to the government effectively through collaboration core technology that can be used for government and citizen authentication and identification. Tinkoff is not alone in leading the path in digital transformation in Russia. Russia actually has Yandex, which is Russians' version of Google, similar to my Baidu example on my China video last week. They also have VKontakte, which is Russia's Facebook. And last but not least, the massive giant of cybersecurity, Kaspersky's Labs. Between the four of them, they're leading the way in a lot of what's coming in financial innovation, which makes me then question the role of banks, which we won't get into in this post. So if you start sort of tying things together here, actually, according to Deloitte, much smarter than me, Russia is one of the top leading in fintech innovation, mostly focused when I double clicked in payments. So talking about the role of identity as an infrastructure core enablement, what would it take for UBS to actually be a catalyst for change and a catalyst for more fintech adoption? Actually, you'd have to think about how does Tinkoff or some of this core technology gets either licensed or given to fintech providers, because let's get real here. Nobody really that's building a fintech product is focused on identity. They want to build the stuff on top of it. So if identity is infrastructure and there and given, could that be the catalyst for bringing about 22% of the unbanked Russia population into the fold and changing the digital banking economy? It's already one of the world's largest and growing digital bank users. So could that be the catalyst for change? And what would it have to happen for that to be true? So let's talk about digital power, shall we? My theme of questioning who identity belongs to and how you actually enable it continues in Russia. And I think it will never end as I visit more and more countries. When you start thinking about Russia's mission, actually recently there was a comment made that every Russian should have by 2025 the digital portrait. And the digital portrait is more than just an avatar, and the UBS biometric system is actually a track record of your mess ups and your good things. Imagine that for a change. I don't know about you, but I get a little worried about how many of my things somebody would surveil, not because I have something to hide, but because I often question the relationship of trust and how my consent should be taken into account. According to Russian government, the digital power and the enabling of the economy is part of making sure that this is under surveillance. So what do you think? Who is the role of that? Is the same as China, or is that how we protect our people? And is that how economies actually find a way to properly compete in the marketplace? I don't know about you, but I'm a citizen of the world, and it quite bothers me the idea that any of my information should belong to one country. I'm a person that was born, yes, in a country, but not bound by it. So would my list of mistakes for my digital identity be carried or locked into one place? Well, I don't know if you've been in Russia, but LinkedIn actually was banned here. This issue gets quite serious in enabling or preventing people from building a connection or watching this video, which is why I'm safely posting it. But LinkedIn was actually banned by not being willing to abide to one of the data protectionist laws and storage of data. So what could the future hold if you're trying to offer services to Russian citizens? Is that a way of making them digitally powerful and united and interoperable within their country and allowing to compete with other services? Or is that a way of eliminating some people from other services or information? Can that be the role that digital identity truly plays on kind of being a catalyst for all this stuff? Trust is a complicated problem. Is how and who, and is it earned by time? Is it earned by birth? Is it earned by where your taxes are paid? Well, I don't seem to, at least in any case, say that I'm an expert on any of these topics. I'm more just curious. So I started quoting and looking at people that talked about describing Russia. And Winston Churchill has this quote that says, "Russia is a riddle wrapped in a mystery inside of an enigma." So when you think about that, it's kind of hard to predict and depends who you talk to. And I will endeavor to talk to more and more people. I often find them on the side of the state or against it. There doesn't seem to be a lot of shades of gray. And when you think about the role of that identity as an infrastructure change and uphaul can take, my question to you remains, how do you negotiate trust? What are all the nuances that are involved with negotiating trust? And how do you even, will global opportunities in this digital space change the dynamics of trust? Is it become more about the value and the immediacy of what we get and the convenience? Could this sort of unleash a new glasnost? I'll leave it to you to question, and I will go endeavor to find out more about Russia. We'll see you in the next Be in the Know. Stay tuned. Thanks for watching.